Welcome to Wdaily. Today we have an amazing show with a special guest, Tim Link. He's an author, speaker, national syndicated talk show host, and he's a professional pet communicator. And we're so excited for you to be here.
Oh, my pleasure.
We're just looking forward to learning about everything that you've done and learning how you work with pets.
Well, very good. Thanks. It's my pleasure being here.
Oh, thank you. Well,
I'm interested, how did you find out about your gift that you have about speaking, talking with pets?
Yeah, for me, it was quite accidental. I will say that. I was not one of those typical people that when they were a child, they rescued, cats from trees or brought home every stray squirrel that came about. For me, it was much later in life. About a little over a decade ago, actually, I went to a small workshop. And it was a workshop just designed to help you relax, breathe, and see if you can connect with the animals. See if you could get a little bit deeper understanding of them, see if you received anything. And at that time, I thought, well, it was going to be a fun thing to do, around a lot of animals, a lot of like-minded people. And from there, though, during this workshop, I went through techniques similar to what I teach in my workshops now, where you learn to breathe, to relax. And you open your heart and you open your mind to see if you can connect with everything around you, especially the animals around you. And during that workshop, everything started opening up. I started receiving information back from the animals. Typically, it was a couple of pictures or a couple of words that I received back from them. But I didn't know what that was all about. And I also knew that it wasn't sort of the norm. Not everybody I knew had ability to be able to connect with animals at this level. So I kept it kind of quiet. I worked with my own animals, started receiving more information, more messages from them, worked with animals of my friends, became part of an animal healing ministry at my church, so helping people out with their animals in those situations. Later became president of a humane society in the Atlanta area. So it gave me more and more opportunities to grow this gift. And finally, back in 2004, I sort of had an epiphany that, this is something I really should be doing. I started getting emails and calls from people around the world asking me to help them with their animals, helped to solve behavior challenges, go through grief counseling with animals, helping people heal when their animals make their transition, and then missing animals, trying to locate missing animals and reunite them with their families or their institutions.
that's amazing because I saw on your site where you helped a family in Portugal.
Yeah.
Tell us about that and how you helped find that pet. That's amazing.
Yeah, the lost animal work's probably what I'm best known for,
Okay.
and it's always the unique stories. It's not 100% guaranteed. It's
Right.
very challenging work. There's very few communicators out there that are able to do this work or want to do this work, because it is, you're dealing with the emotions of people as well as the emotions of the animals.
Right.
But in that particular situation, it was I get contacted via email. They're saying they've got an animal that's lost. They send me the picture, they send me the information of where the animal was last seen, date missing, and I start to do my work from there. So I connect with the animal to get as much information as I possibly can from them. So I'm receiving, words, colors, feelings, pictures, emotions, whatever the animal's willing to share with me, that's what I'm picking up. And then I do a technique which is called map dowsing.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit more about that.
So map dowsing is similar to any other type of dowsing. So what we're most familiar with is dowsing using dowsing rods to detect where energy source is coming from. So if we're using it to find water for a well or oil for drilling, a lot of people will use the dowsing rods and they'll give you an energy connection of where that energy is the strongest. So that's where they know to look for that water or that oil. In my situation, I use a map or various maps of the area where the animal was located or is located, and I use a pendulum, if you're familiar with a pendulum, another thing. And so I connect with the animal's energy via the pendulum and the map to narrow down the area. So in a situation in Portugal, we got it down, and it's not always precise.
Right.
We've had situations where recently, in last year, I found that lost cat in the exact Redstone apartment in downtown New York.
Wow.
So, that's very unique. I wish they were all that easy. But in this case, we narrowed it down to an area. I gathered the information the animal shared with me, the surroundings or the inside, the outside, whatever information I could gather. Do the map dowsing, take a look at the map and say, okay, try to identify things that I'm seeing on the map and areas where the energy is the strongest. That's where you should look. In the situation, they went there and they looked for the animal, and lo and behold, there it was in the driveway. And the ironic thing, in this case, it was at a friend's house, but it was many miles away. So the animal was somewhat familiar with the area, came up the drive and was sitting there just sort of waiting for him, saying, "Yeah, what? Yeah, what? You guys looking for me? Oh, yeah, I've been here all along."
That is amazing.
Yeah, so we work. Yeah, it's very interesting. It's always a very heartfelt. It's tough because we don't get them all back. They're not all meant to come back. They're not all able to come back. But the ones that we do, it's always very heartwarming to do that.
That's my family's going through that right now. My mom's lost her dog, and so I can only like the work that you do. It's amazing and so important.
Thank you.
So that's so impressive.
Thank you.
Is it mainly dogs and cats that you communicate with? Do you communicate with other animals?
It's all animals. So when we take a look at animals, we all have this ability to be able to connect with each other and communicate back and forth without using our language. So when we are young, we hear this word called mother's instinct. And mother can look at little Timmy sitting on the floor, and little Timmy could be looking just fine. Everything seems fine, but the mother knows. They get a gut feeling, they get a vision, they get some sort of a sensation that tells them something's wrong with little Timmy. And sure enough, they go pick up little Timmy, and he's got a fever, or he's not feeling well, or take him to the doctor, and something's going on. And you ask that mother afterwards, well, how'd you know that? And you think, well, I don't know. I got a feeling. I got a vision. I got something that I know is true, and I acted upon it. And so when we're young, we're not able to speak, our vocabulary, so we are able to open ourselves up to everything around us. So that's how we can connect that heart connection with our mothers and with our parents to communicate with them. The challenge is when we get older, when we start to go to school, we're taught that here's how we should communicate. We learn our ABCs, and here's how humans communicate with each other. So we sort of lose that. Well, with animals, they always communicate with that in that telepathic realm. That's when animals know exactly what to do, and there's no barking, there's no any outward sign of anything going on. Birds flying in a certain formation, and the lead goose, in this case, wants to fall back. They don't, land on the ground and, play rock, paper, scissors to determine who's going to go yet, or rock, paper, wings. Yeah, so they communicate using that telepathic connection. So for me, a lot of it is dogs and cats because that's what we're surrounded with for the most part. But I work with zoos, aquariums, sanctuaries. So I've worked with, zebras to porcupines to whales to dolphins, and then, of course, our dogs and our cats.
What's the weirdest thing an animal's ever communicated to you?
Oh, goodness. This is a family show, right? So it's always surprising, because each animal has their own unique personality, just like with each human. So some are very outwardly sharing. So they'll share words, colors, feelings, pictures, emotions, smells, taste, whatever they want. Some are more subdued. Maybe they'll only share in a couple of manners, maybe just a few words or a vision is how they share. So each one is very unique. Now, what they share, it's everything from, they don't like their food, as basic as that, all the way to the fact that they're experiencing some stress, some medical issues that I try to help. I'm not a veterinarian, but I help try to narrow down that area and what they're feeling. So then you could go to your veterinarian and say, let's focus on this area, or here's what I think we should look at. And so I work with a lot of veterinarians in that. So those stories are all over the place, everything in the world you could possibly think of. And every time I think I've seen it all or heard it all, there's always something new coming about.
That's fascinating. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Tell us about your book.
Okay, so here's the latest, Talking with Dogs and Cats. So this book basically is a how-to type book. The first part of the book deals with what is animal communication on a very basic level, and how can you open up your gift? How can you go back to when you were a child and breathe and connect and understand and trust the things that you're receiving and hearing and feeling within your gut or within yourself. The latter part of the book deals mostly with the things I deal with for the most part. So we're talking dogs and cats, since we all have dogs and cats in our lives, or we've had them in our lives. So that's what we focus on in this book. But it's the things that if you have a dog and cat in your life, you've experienced this. So why is my dog always barking at the door? Why does my dog pull me on the leash? How do I introduce a new baby or a new person or a new animal into our household? So these things that we want to do what's best for our animals, but we're looking for some ways to be able to connect with them and explain this in more detail. So it's sort of training, but it's not your traditional training. It's really connecting and communicating with the animals on a very one-on-one level, having a relationship with them. And so forming that bond, communicating with them verbally, visually, and emotionally to better connect with them.
And where can we purchase this book?
Books available nationwide, so you could go to your favorite independent retailer, or you can go to your large bookstores, or online, of course, it's available.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
You also have your website, waggingtails.com?
Wagging-tails.com, so it's wagging-tales.com, so it's the tells they tell, not the tells they wag. And on the website, you'll find all kinds of information on there. You'll find information about all my books that I have. I've got audio recordings for meditations. They're available on the website as well as elsewhere. The radio shows, the syndicated radio shows, all those are downloadable. So there's a plethora of information on there. So go check it out, wagging-tails.com, and you'll find something you're interested in, that's for sure.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today.
My
And
pleasure.
thank y'all for watching Wdaily. And come back next time for another great show.
Thank you. Bye-bye.